Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Phillies Talk Daily podcast. Jim Salisbury. I'm Corey Seidman. It's a Sunday afternoon. There is some news from down in Clearwater where Jim is about a couple of Phillies pitchers. Aaron Nola made his spring debut Saturday, but I guess even bigger news took place this morning, huh, Jim?
Yes. Zack Wheeler threw a bullpen 35 pitches, and, he looked good. Looked healthy. The big question is he going to be ready on time for the first week of the season? And he believes he is. It's something that the brass is going to have to talk about, and something that, his performance and the metrics they use to gauge a pitcher's readiness and arm strength, those things will show as camp goes on. But so bullpen today, and I guess he'll throw another one in a couple days and face hitters. And there's a chance he can get in a couple games down here if all things continue to point in a good direction. And if he can get in a couple games in Florida, you could see him late in that first week, maybe in an abbreviated role, what they call piggybacking with another pitcher. So, that's good news. That he's back. He had the flu and said he really wasn't that sick. Joe said they just didn't want to take any chances of him, passing it on in the clubhouse. I mean, it's close quarters in any locker room. And as we've seen the last few years, they social distance and whatnot. So they kept him away for a few days, but he said he was able to keep throwing. He didn't go into a lot of detail about where, but he was. I mean, this field's all over the place here. So it sounds like they must have sent a catcher out, and he was able to keep his arm limber because he looked like a guy today who had been working.
So, Jim, with the abbreviated spring training, it sounds like pitchers aren't going to be going too deep into their outing in their first start. And with Zack Wheeler being a little bit behind everybody else, could that mean that, we don't see Wheeler really being pushed until perhaps mid to late April?
Yeah, perhaps, because, his first start might not come till mid-April with the opener on the 8th. Who knows? His first start could be 12th, 13th, 14th. And, it might be, keep an eye on him the first couple before maybe turning him loose. There was some plan to go easy with him a little bit at the outset anyway down here in Clearwater. And he revealed that he had a little shoulder soreness in December, but that's gone. Once the season gets going, I think we're going to forget the first couple of weeks pretty quickly. So if he has a couple abbreviated ones, at some point he's going to be Zack Wheeler. As long as he's healthy, at some point he's going to be Zack Wheeler, the horse again, taking this team deep into games. So he seems like he feels like he's on a good track. So that's good news. As you can see, batting practice behind me in Clearwater.
For those of you watching on YouTube, that is, if you're listening, I highly suggest that after you listen, you also go watch on YouTube so you can get the ambiance. Yesterday, we had the people creeping on Jim in the radio booth. Today, we have the background of the field. We're talking pitching because we've been talking offense all week with the additions of Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber, and just thinking about how deep this Phillies lineup is going to be. Another pitcher I wanted to ask you about is Zac Eflin. When he first spoke to reporters in Clearwater, he expressed some optimism that he would be potentially ready to go for his first start. Did you see that as kind of just like a guy being riled up and saying, like, I think I'll be ready? Or do the Phillies think that that's a real possibility?
I think it's beneficial that, opening day is pushed back, a full week, actually 9 days for the Phillies. He's ahead of schedule, and they're not going to do anything silly, not with the way they handle these guys medically and not with the surgery he's coming back from. So if he wasn't ready to go, they wouldn't push him. But, he's made really good strides coming back from that patella tendon surgery, and he thinks he has a chance. He's looked good. So I think we'll know more once he gets in the game. And hang on a minute. Let me see if I got his schedule on the game. You got some schedules. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, I don't have him yet. But I expect him to get up pretty soon. He's looked good in his side sessions, and they're going to get if they get a healthy season out of him, that'll be a big boost. I've always thought Eflin I've always thought there's an all-star in there somewhere. I wonder if this will be the year.
Well, last year there was all that hype around him going into the year. I remember that, it was almost like the Nick Pivetta stuff a few years before, where nationally people were looking at the guy who had some untapped potential and the high strikeout rate and the low walk rate and the good sinker. All those skills still exist in Zac Eflin, and he's had his runs. He just hasn't been able to really put it together over 6 straight months while staying healthy. Aaron Nola, another guy, a lot of eyes are going to be on him. He made his spring debut Saturday against the Blue Jays, who brought over some big bats. They brought over Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Nola gave up a titanic blast to Vladdy Jr. early in that game in the first inning, gave up another homer the next inning. But, the fastball looked pretty good, and you don't really care about the results in these early spring games. It's just more so the guy getting on the mound and getting into a groove. And Nola looked like he had his good stuff yesterday.
Yeah, he looked like he had arm strength. He had 5 strikeouts, no walks. It's early in the spring, even throughout spring, it's that touch and feel that comes later on. And that bomb that Guerrero hit was an 0-2 changeup. It just, it was kind of poorly located. As he gets going, the hope is it'll be located better. He had a lot of trouble last year with 2 strikes on hitters, and he gave up an 0-2 home run and a 2-2 home run. So putting away guys with 2 strikes is a focus of his, but kind of like you said, I don't read too much into the first start. If if he had 5 strikeouts, no walks, there was enough good to to come away, for him at least, to come away feeling good. Early on, the big thing is first time you get on a mound, second time competitively for spring, you want to make sure everything feels good after a long winter, because it is different throwing bullpens than it is facing hitters in a competitive situation. And he came away feeling good. So he lines up to pitch his 5th straight opening day. Ordinarily, that would have been, I guess, Wheeler, because he had such a great year last year, second in the Cy Young. But like we talked about, he'll be pushed back a little bit. And Kyle Gibson's making his first start today, Sunday, against the Braves down in Northport. And he's going to be a big factor at the back of that rotation. There is some buzz here in Clearwater as these guys take batting practice. JT Realmuto's taking batting practice right now. I don't know if you can see with my amateur.
Jim, last year,
my amateur camera work, and Ronald Torreyes is on the field.
Yeah, Ronnie Torreyes is back, huh?
Yeah, walked in this morning. He had a locker in the clubhouse, so he's on a minor league deal. Not surprising. He actually did a good job when used. If you don't overexpose him and use him in that bench role, did a good job for Joe Girardi last year. Him and Joe go way back to the Yankees, and there's a real chemistry there. So I'm not surprised that he's back as a candidate and to play in the organization. And good guy to have around for that infield depth. And he swung the bat good for them. You just got to use him in the right situations. And let's see who else is out there. Scott Kingery's out there. He actually looks, physically looks very good. Looks like he's got some of his quote athlete back. He's not as bulky. Looks a little more athletic. And let's see who else is out there.
Is Scott Kingery in line to battle for any sort of position? Like, could Scott Kingery position himself somewhere on the Phillies bench?
I'm not sure at the outset. He's still coming back from shoulder surgery, and I think he has some progressions to go with his throwing. But at some point in the season, yeah, he could be a factor. It's just he's still young. There's still talent. He's had some hard knocks. He's just got to get over them and play well. If you perform, they'll always find a place for you. So, not sure at the outset that he's a candidate. I think we'll know a little bit more about that down the road here as he continues to come back from this shoulder surgery. He had a pretty significant labrum tear on his throwing shoulder. But, he's out there doing drills. He's swinging it, and, we'll see.
I wanted to go back to the 0-2 comment you made about Aaron Nola. It's something that we talked about a lot last season and after the season wrapped up in explaining why his 2021 just didn't go as planned. He allowed 10 home runs last year after getting ahead 0-2. I'm not just talking about 2 strikes. After starting the count 0-2, allowed 10 home runs, right? So it's what makes something like that is a reason that he's so unpredictable from inning to inning, from batter to batter. First two batters of the game yesterday, I know we're not caring too much about results, but made two guys look silly in a row, then gets 0-2 to Guerrero and gives up the homer. It's just like you wonder in the moment, is it because he trusts his stuff a little too much? Because he's so precise in getting to 0-2 that it's confounding sometimes that he's imprecise once he gets there.
Yeah, confounding is the right word because we've seen him be so good. I don't know the answer to that, but yesterday on that Orelvis Martinez in the second inning, he gave up a home run. He was 0-2 on him, so he went strike for 0-2. Then it was 1-2 foul ball, 2-2 home run on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. So I don't know the answer, but it's something he has to address. What was it? 10 home runs after being 0-2?
So he allowed 12 home runs with 2 strikes, but 10 of those 12 were after beginning the count 0-2 exactly. Yeah.
Wow. And the most I think 84 2-strike hits, which was tied in the majors with I think Jordan Lyles. So you look at the strikeouts per 9 and the stuff, and there's so much to like about Aaron Nola. He is addressing his delivery, trying to compact his delivery a little bit, and maybe that can help him. Maybe drive the ball down a little bit more and get the results he's looking for. So, he's working on some things.
So Kyle Gibson's pitching for the Phillies today against the Braves, and then tomorrow it's Phillies-Yankees. Tampa isn't too far from Clearwater, so you think some key Phillies will be making that trip?
Yeah, I do. I do, because a bunch of guys stayed back here today. So I think you'll see Harper and, a bunch of different guys over there. So that'll be, interesting, some of their regulars, because it's a close trip. And it's always a little bit of an event when you play the Yankees, especially later in camp. We're still early, but, they continue to limber up and kind of on Kyle Schwarber watch here.
He's expected to arrive, right?
Kind of Kyle Schwarber watch on Sunday here in Clearwater. There's rumblings that he's arriving today. Now, I don't know that he's going to arrive at the ballpark and take BP.
Stop at the park, hit some dingers?
Yeah, he might. Who knows? So we're kind of looking for that, but we don't necessarily know that that's going to happen. There'll be more of an official unveiling of Kyle Schwarber on Monday, and Nick Castellanos a little bit later in the week. I think he's still getting his physical. Those guys will be in there sooner rather than later.
And a big reminder that Tuesday and Wednesday, that's March 22nd and 23rd, we have the Phillies spring training games on our air on NBC Sports Philadelphia Plus. That is Phillies Tigers on Tuesday, Phillies Jays on Wednesday. So you can catch both of those games at 1:05 p.m. And that's going to do it for this Phillies Talk Daily podcast. Thanks out there to everybody who's listening. Catch you tomorrow.